Sadhgurunath Maharaj ki jai. Devyani feels I should say something. So I said, what? She said, whatever you feel like. Actually, for the last few days, Vineet Singhal left me with a seed or a bug. And now he's probably thinking, what did he leave me with? I'm sure he remembers. He said, we should start satsang like it was in Baba Muktananda's days. So those of you who are here from those days, still alive, what I mean, physically online, you'll probably remember Vandana is shaking her head because she's a product of that satsang. Her uncle ran satsang. She was living with him, studying, going to school or college, and she was forced to do satsang. So, I don't know force is the right word, but force means that by osmosis is what I call it. You are in the house, especially growing up in India, you cannot tell your elders, I don't feel like it. They say, we have satsang, so you come. So as they say in English, it means sat and sang. And so as we chanted the Lalita here, I mean the Lalita and the Saptashati every morning, I had forgotten actually what Vineet had said, but somewhere within myself I felt that our modern day lifestyle all over the world needs that which Baba Muktananda started in the 70s. It is said that over 350 homes, now I tell people, I don't know if the count is right or wrong, but it's a lot of homes, 350, that held satsang once a week. Most of them was Thursdays, some I think was Saturday or Sunday. And there are some people here who did that back then. They feel good. They feel good that they did it. They feel good that they were able to introduce their family to it. They feel good that their children are still part of satsang. So each day as we chanted here, I thought to myself, how do I tell this to the people around the world? Start satsang. You know, stop a little bit of your television. Stop a little bit of your social life. Stop a little bit of whatever else that you do. And find 2 hours a week. I think it's about 2 hours a week that you can do satsang. Whether you do it in your space, whether you find somebody who is willing to do it in his or her or their space, whether it is a home, whether it is a commercial space, you have to do nothing but chant. And I think in Baba's tradition, the easiest thing is you can sing Jota, that's 10 minutes. You can sing Arati Karu, that's another 10 minutes. You can sing the Guru's 5 sandals, Paduka Panchakam, that's about 5 minutes. You do the universal prayer, that's 4 minutes. So that's 30 minutes right there. And then I'm sure that there is some musician amongst you who could lead a kirtan. That's another 15 minutes like we did just now. And then you can always hire people like Navinji to come online on the right day at the right time, and they'll sing a few online mantras for you. And of course you can record and play it also and just listen to it. And there's about 40 days of Baba stuff on the USB. 40 days, okay? That's 40 days non-stop. Okay, so 24 hours a day for 40 days. If you play Baba's USB, Baba will not be tired because it's the USB playing. So there will be solo chanting, there will be group chanting, there will be Hindi talks by Baba. I don't know, there's so much on that. And it's a wonderful surprise if you have a little device and you put that USB in and leave it playing all the time. The volume goes up and down. And like we played in Magod and somebody asks me sometimes, who is that? So I tell them it's private satsang. you can only go as a VIP. Of course, it's just a room in which we have a sound system and where this is playing. For the very same reason that I feel that vibration of the Siddha must fill your space. And Devyani read from the 12th chapter the other day. If you read the meaning of the Durga Saptashri, the Chandi part, you will find here and there that the Devi comes in many forms. There's plenty of forms, we only have a few forms here. I have a book here that the Gita Press has put out, and in there's umpteen forms of Devi. Now when you begin to think, what is this? It is this, the goodness in each and every one of us. The goodness in each and every one of us. That is the Devi, that is the Shakti. That comes out to do good. I'll share a simple story I just recently read, and I'm sure over the years we've read versions of that. Two boys are walking. One has a whole bunch of books, and the other one is walking empty-handed. They're from the same class, but they have not seen each other. So 3 other boys run into the boy with the books. His books fly over everywhere. And the other boy helps him, pick up the books, and then they walk. As they walk, he says, I've never seen you before. He said, yeah, I just transferred from a private school to a public school. And so he said, what will you be doing with all these books? He said, I'll be studying. And he said, studying so much. And they, as young people, you start talking. And then the boy with no books was thinking of the soccer game. He was going to have the weekend baseball and all the various things he was going to do with his friends over the weekend. So he thought, well, this boy looks like a nerd, but maybe I need to give him a chance, an opportunity to get out. So he said, would you like to come play with us? The boy without the books told the boy with the books, will you like to come play with us? So the boy with the books said, sure, why not? So he came, he spent the weekend with them. They had a lot of fun. And they became good friends. They went to school together. And then one went off to Duke and one went off to Georgetown. 2 different subjects. But they stayed in touch. And then sometime, maybe I jumped a little ahead, but somewhere there is whether it's a high school graduation or a college graduation, they come together. So it has to be a college graduation, right? Because after Duke and Georgetown, there won't be a high school. So I don't know. Anyway, I just read it quickly the other day, and I thought I have to see when I'll use it. So today is a good time to use it. The purpose of satsang is why I'm using this story. And the young man with the books comes up on stage and he shares about that weekend. And he says, I had plans. Now can anyone imagine what the plans were? What do you mean when you say His plan was suicide. He said, I didn't want my mother to clean up after me, so I was taking all my books from my locker home and was going to clean up my spaces. So when I was no more, my mother didn't have to clean up. He says, but that weekend, I met a friend, and that friend changed my life. So of course, the parents of the boy with the books look at each other, look at the boy without the books. The boy's parents without the books look at the parents with the books. And so you can just imagine the amount of vrittis, as we read here in the Saptashri Chandi part, that take place in those few moments or those few seconds. A boy who, without the books, if he had not intercepted that moment, or if he had not just taken that, we could say, a moment of kindness, of compassion, of friendship, of love, whatever it is. And so often I see that in society today. When I travel through airplanes, through stores, through people, and just because of the way I am, people look at me. And so when they look at me, I smile, I wave, I do different things. I know they sometimes wonder if I'm a little bit, lost it. It's okay, because it's better lost this way than that way. Because I will still live tomorrow. And I'm grateful to all of those friends in my life, because of whom I am alive today. I'm doing what I'm doing, and I am where I am today. And for all of us, why I tell you to do satsang? Because a young man wrote me, he said, so many strange thoughts come to the mind. And I know he's not alone in that. There are so many of us in whose minds so many strange thoughts come. But if we keep, as the scriptures tell us, Baba Muktananda told us, satsang, good company, the strength of that goodness saves us. We read in the Guru Gita, Guru Rakshati Parvati, and people always think Guru means Baba, Guru means Bhagwan, Guru means he, she who I think is my Guru. But I think Guru comes in so many forms in our life. And in that moment, if we're able to recognize and appreciate that presence and be grateful for that presence, and that presence is the presence. Now, I thought of all of the various people who've been here all week long. It's our 5th or 6th day today. It started on Tuesday. And everybody comes up and sits here for 3 hours in the morning and about 2-3 hours in the evening. And I've often wondered over the years, some of them flip the pages, try to keep up with the priests, and they go faster and faster every day because they get used to chanting from last October, and then again when this October comes, from this April, because the first day is a little bit slow because they haven't done it, for a few months, except for those who do it every day. They do it and then they can do it really fast. But then they do it twice a year, and so when they do it, the speed picks up. It's like driving a car. You get better at driving a car, so you're better at shifting gears, you're better at maneuvering corners, you're better at, so your speed picks up. So it's the same with them. As they chant each and every day, the groove, they get into the groove. And so those who've never, and especially with Navinji, when he goes all over the place with his tones and with his, what do you call it? Tunes. You have to go wonder what's Navinji doing, but it's like, and if you miss one page or one word, you've lost it. And then you're like trying to look at the neighbor, and the neighbor is actually fast asleep or deep in meditation. And they are at some page, many pages away, and you are going to that page, and you go, wait, there's nothing on this page. Yes, there's nothing on this page because that page was passed an hour ago. And so then you try to be cool and you try to feel what is going on and wait till Prabal goes, chapter 10. And then you're flipping through, and if it's chapter 6, it's a short chapter and it finishes quickly. So by the time you find chapter 6, it's already on chapter 8. And you go, what? Wait a minute. But that's because you took that long. That's life. You miss the moment. You miss that groove. You miss it. So get into the groove. And so get into satsang. So I'm not going to tell, don't come to ask me what is my plan. You can see Vinit Singhal, he's here in the back. He can give you a plan because he must have a plan. His father and mother ran satsang, I think. They dance, I don't know. They must have done something. They were part of, there's plenty of people here, Umesh Nagakate and satsang for a long time. All you want to do is sit and make some noise. As Baba reminded us, there are two kinds of noise. There's uplifting noise and the non-uplifting noise. So we want to make the uplifting noise. So I saw an ad the other day, Krishna Das is offering some kirtan classes. So maybe he's thinking the same thing, that how do we get all these people onto kirtan? The ISKCON people do it a lot. You will see them all over the world. They have the young people who grew up in the ISKCON family have taken up playing the harmonium, taken up playing the khol is what their drum is called, and they just sing and just enjoy themselves. So our question is, how do we get our young people who might be on the wrong path on that weekend and turn them around so they come to understand that life has a much greater purpose. You'll find, I haven't seen it, but I've only seen the picture. So Chinmayananji talking about what happens when you commit suicide. So I'm sure that our scriptures talk about it. It's not advised, it is not suggested, and I have often shared over time that somewhere in World War II, the famous psychiatrist talks to a lady for an hour. And they meet here in the US many years later, and the psychiatrist asks her, what of my advice did you like? She said, none. She said, the fact that you listened to me for 1 hour is why I'm alive today. So sometimes it's not what we say, it's not what we suggest, it's not what we want to tell them. Sometimes the fact that they feel you lend a ear, you lend a mind or a heart, and allow them to just simply share. So when I read the Chandi part and you read about Rakta Bija, you read about Shumba, Nishumba, you read about Madhukaitava, these are all various demons, the negative aspect that the sage Markandeya talks about in here. So now you can figure out which one of these demons is harassing you. And so if you figure it out, then you find that particular aspect of the Devi and say, okay, I need to invoke this aspect of the goddess within myself to cure me of this situation. Because in the Bhagavad Gita it is very clear that Uddharet Atmanam Atmanam Navasadayet Atmaiva Yatmano Bandhu Atmaiva Ripudatmana. You are your own friend, you are your own enemy. No one else can uplift you, you can uplift yourself by yourself. Which goes to Baba's message, God dwells within you as you, your God dwells within you as you. So all of these teachings are there. So these are all the thoughts I've had for the last few days, sitting here, chanting, listening to all of you, all the priests singing, chanting, and thinking to myself, what else can we do in our times, in our society, in our day, to open up ourselves, first of all, to open up our space. We have plenty of incense here. You can learn how to create these ghee lamps and do ghee aaratis or ghee diyas. You can just buy fruit. You don't even have to cook food. You can just buy fruit, keep that in the satsang. And then when, I remember in Livingston, New Jersey, on Wednesdays, we used to give out mint chocolate, I think, right? Because Devyani used to go to work in those days, and she would come back, she's like, I'm not going to make prasad. And the Sharmas used to come, they would bring soup. I know she never said that. But sometimes you have to imagine what the person is saying to you without any words being said. And we were just a few of us that came together. The Sharmas brought us non-salt soup, because we were trying on a diet, some kind. And Poonam, her brother, father, mom, I think, used to go to work. So we would all be there together. And it was a nice evening, like I'm talking about. We just gather on Wednesday evening at 6 o'clock. I don't even remember what we did. I just remember a lot of quiet time. Bhagwati Nash used to come from Queens at times with her husband. husband, Panduranga, and Nirguna used to come. So there were a few of us. We would sit and it would be finished by 8:39. And so the idea was either Divyani or I don't know who, somebody, one of us stood at the door. There was supposed to be no talking. So you just take your prasad, you go, and we would see each other again on Sunday. So all I'm trying to offer you is don't get stressed. Like, what is the plan? The plan is simply get together, buy some fruit, buy some flowers, light an incense, light a lamp, and at the end, just tell everybody we'll maintain the silence, take a piece of fruit and go home. See, if you're not a social type of person, you don't have to worry that what will I say? Because that's the biggest fear everybody has. What do I tell? You don't have to tell anything. And if you want to tell something, during that week, read something from one of the scriptures or books that you like. Find that verse. And if you feel scared even of reading, then from one of those people that comes to you, or you could take turns and you could just tell somebody, it's your turn to read this week. You might have saved so many lives, you won't even know until you go to a graduation. So now Devyani has some announcements. I was going to use her announcements, but I had plenty of material, so